Hello guys! Today we met for a tech workshop to describe what is a tech challenge that Publica is facing. In general, I will describe the tech environment in terms of the, say, platform or user or like author and reader experience evolution. Well, in general, I hope you agree that it all starts with an author that had an idea for a book, right? And then Publica platform can help to connect to a community, describe, like push the message, engage, raise awareness, and in general, if a book is worthy, then people would like to support it, participating in book ICO and buying an access key to the book that, like to an upcoming book. So we can conceptualize it that author need to run a book ICO. And I mean, apparently, clearly that an ICO is a process when people send cryptocurrency, or in our case, platform tokens, to a smart contract that author has deployed. So they need to have a Publica wallet, at least, right? To so we can improve the user experience of interacting with exchange and pretty much make it all under the hood. So the same as in terms of protocols that you usually do not, well, majority of people, they do not know their IP address, and some even they don't know what IP address is at all. So we might not expose really people to PBL tokens. Well, instead we just have an API connected to the exchange and just buying the PBL to implement the transaction. So we need to make a wallet, right? Publica wallet for readers, and then eventually, when a book is ready, we have to make a publisher app so that an author can actually kind of deploy or commit or introduce the content to either decentralized storage, or most probably the first version, it will be in the cloud. And then we need to upgrade this wallet with a reader that this book can be rendered, but we still of course need a wallet in order to authenticate and authorize access to the content for a particular user. And apart from that, there is a kind of not directly connected, but an exchange for read tokens. I mean, we are not envisioning that these tokens will be traded, because each book will have its own one, unless there will be like really best sellers and some exchanges might want to list for whatever reason. But we will have an internal exchange that, like, you might find it similar to EtherDelta, where people can exchange their books or resell them, or some people might buy books at pre-sale, right, at book ICO price, if they see that a contract is made in a way that now it costs like 1 PBL and later it will be 5 PBL, and they really believe that this book will be worthy and demanded. So what does it mean technologically, an author? Well, we definitely need a registration module, and we're not going to make anything complicated. It's just email registration or social login. And then there is a, let's call it, author profile and certain how to say, simple ICO page. We're not going to make a new GeoCities for ICOs, but there should be a simple page that would declare that I, an author, like name, surname, here is my book, and just links to the channel just for validation and for kind of linking to Publica and from Publica. And that's the moment that author can start outreach to the community in their conventional channels, just linking back here. And I guess it will be some like compulsory media here that will expose the visitor, the reader, to the innovation of how they can support it for like writing an ebook. And eventually, also there probably will be certain due diligence or KYC module for an author before we allow him or her to deploy a smart contract. So once it's done, like then an author actually gets access to a, let's call it, smart contract for read tokens. For smart contract deployment engine, while definitely a public infrastructure would compile and deploy contract, the owner of the contract will be an author, right? Because we may want to make it decentralized. The author is owner of his small e-commerce store on the blockchain. So it's a graphical user interface. They select like is number, like do they want to run pre-sale or some maybe private sale, what is the tire prices, what is the price steps, what is the bonus or discount structure. Well, just like an ICO does. Maybe we'll integrate referral program later, but it's all about, I would say, their business model. Well, and definitely we will help them to unbox it and take advantage of building an interest in their product and its commercial potential. There will be certain library of smart contract templates, and then once we got certain parameters for them, then we deploy them to the blockchain, and author can announce like, now guys, it's time to download this great Publica wallet that will be eventually also will be a reader, so you can actually support me, right? So it's time for, like in terms of tech, we are creating a wallet. And at this stage, author already has an author wallet embedded, so it can be similar like my Ether wallet, because we need to have a private key of the author in order to make him, well, a public key at least, yeah. And he has to keep his private key somewhere, but most probably we will create this pair, in order for him to be like an owner of this process. So then I think we are developing a wallet for a reader to really enable them to support the book and buy read tokens that will eventually give access to the content. And well, basically it means that if everything is successful, then it means that author would get some PBLs to his or her wallet, and then eventually they can, through the APIs that we'll provide there, connect to exchange and exchange them to fiat if they wish, or just kind of shapeshift them to other coins. Well, hopefully this money were put in a good use, and eventually there is something to publish. So we have to create a publisher app or publisher module for inside author dashboard. There will be certain workflow to validate that the content that author is going to publish actually belongs to the author. So it's not just copy-pasted book from somewhere. And it, how to say, it would not jeopardize the platform, token holders and its users if there are certain legal restrictions for circulation of certain type of content. Well, eventually, publisher will send anything as short as hello world to the storage. And it's time to upgrade reader wallet to make it fully functional, right? So it's both wallet plus reader. And then it's an interesting challenge in terms of how will we authenticate reader and authorize to access the content. Well, there are different options. Like after publishing, there probably will be certain ID or certain link that would kind of point to the storage that will be sent to a smart contract of this particular book. So the wallet will tell, well, here is a book that matching your read token actually. And when we try to access it, first of all, we check that this public key still has an ownership of read token in the smart contract mapping. Well, and second, we want to be sure that this public key also has a legitimate private key. So we can sign this request, and here we have certain layer of logic that would decrypt it using public key and say, oh, okay, if the content is right, then it's the right guy. It's like rightful owner of this public key that is sending request and that is in the appropriate read token smart contract mapping. An app, a reader, should also do a, how to say, it's not just one-time check, but a check that needs to be performed with certain frequency, because this token can be sold, right? So we don't want just to download the book here and in offline storage and just give access to it forever. We want to be sure that this person still is listed in the appropriate smart contract mapping. The challenge that we are not addressing currently, well, neither in prototype nor in MVP, is a storage for a book. There are distinct advantages if the storage would be decentralized, right, and immutable, not just decentralized in terms that there's not a single server we can shut down, so it can be storage or other solution. It's like the next benefit if it would be a like blockchain-based storage like Swarm for Ethereum or maybe EOS blockchain, well, to the degree that they advertise it, because it will allow authors, I would say, kind of to really touch the concept of immortality, right? Both in terms of their word and in terms of their business, because both smart contract and the storage will be immutable and kind of forever. Of course, it gives rise to certain ethical and legal issues, because we don't want to make this process fully decentralized, in a sense that somebody can take certain content that we don't want, like that is protected, say, under copyright law, right, and set up their e-commerce store on the blockchain that will last forever, right? So we need to take certain precautions, and maybe content will be moved to decentralized storage after certain validation that it would not jeopardize the platform and its users and holders of its tokens. We're in the very beginning of discovery of what would be the right frameworks or tools or opportunities or problems in each of the components of this solution. So you are really very welcome, and I already had certain conversations with some community members on their opinion of how it might or might not work. There is no solution we can kind of take and learn from, so that's really exciting and interesting process, and that's why your feedback is really welcomed and appreciated and valuable, because we can save a lot of time if you're looking at this solution from the side, would tell, like, guys, have you thought about that? And we say, oh, wow, really? So we kind of change the direction of development early. We do have substantial experience in development of complex solution, but so it gives us certain confidence that we can deliver it eventually. But we believe that we will greatly benefit from your insights. So feel free to write in our Telegram group or just send me a direct message at SAP Telegram or to info@publica.io. Thank you for attention. Looking for your feedback.